everyone, KK here, and I hope you all are doing well. I wanted to quickly share a tutorial with you all for the treat holder that I'm going to be making for my coworkers for Easter. So the original source of inspiration for this came from Janice's channel, and Janice is Cricketologist32820 here on YouTube, and she posted a tutorial on a treat holder for a full-size Hershey bar. And if you're not a subscriber of Janice's channel, I would highly recommend that you pop over and have a look at her videos. She does some amazing tutorials, and the best thing about her videos is that as she's scrapping, she talks through them, so you really feel like you're just sitting with a friend having a chat while you're scrapping. So again, if you're not a subscriber, pop over and have a look. And if you're watching, Janice, hello, and thank you so much for the videos that you do. I quite enjoy them. Alright, so again, this is for a full-size Hershey bar treat holder, and that is what Janice posted. I, however, purchased these that were specifically for Easter, so they were a little bit smaller, so I had to measure out the dimensions and change them up a bit. So if you needed the full-size ones, again, pop over to Janice's channel and have a look at her original video, and I'll link the video down below. Alright, so to get started, you need, obviously, your chocolate. And you're going to need a sheet of plain cardstock. This one is from Coordinations. It's the canvas finish texture. And this one is 3 1/4 inches wide, and it is 8 1/2 inches long. I've also cut a sheet of patterned paper from the Authentique Uncommon collection, the 6x6 pad, into a 3x3 square. I've used my EK Success tag punch, and I've punched a tag out of that same Coordinations cardstock, and I've stamped it with Happy Easter with a Hero Art stamp set, and I also used just a plain hole punch to punch a hole there in the corner. You're going to need a length of ribbon or seam binding, whatever your preference is, and also a length of crochet thread, embroidery floss, or baker's twine, whichever again you prefer. So that is it, aside from adhesive. So I'm going to zoom in just a bit so we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to move this to the side, and look at that, and let me zoom in. Alright, I think that will be good. Alright, so you're going to start by scoring at 1 inch, and then again at 4 1/4 inches, okay? So once you do that, you're basically going to fold at the 4 1/4 inches score line. Alright. And then you're going to fold the at the 1 inch, but going the opposite way. Alright. So you're kind of making like this Z shape. That's what you should end up with. Okay? So you would want to use sticky strip for adhesive, however at the moment I don't have any, so all I have is my ATG. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly, very lightly, score right here at this flap where it's folded over, so that I can see where the adhesive needs to stop and you can't see that I've scored it on the other side. And that way I can take my adhesive from this point, this score line, all the way to the edge and do it all the way down. Now you don't want to add adhesive on this little flap. So this part here you do not want to add any adhesive to. You kind of want to fold it over and just leave it alone. Alright. So you want to get as close to the edge as possible without going over. And if you do go over, just kind of brush it over and, you know. One more time on this side, stopping again at that little score line that we made. Alright, and now we're going to just fold this over. Alright, and I like to take my blown folder and just go over it. Alright, next we're going to take our 3x3 square of patterned paper, and we're going to adhere that to the front. And I know these colors or this paper isn't what you would probably think Easter, but I didn't want it to be too cutesy. I wanted it to be kind of vintage, and so I thought these papers were great for that. So make sure it's right side up, and just center it at the bottom. Okay. Alright. Next we're going to take that length of ribbon and we're going to tie it in a knot. Now when I do this, I like to tie it in a knot, but I also like to tie it a bit askew, more on one side than the other. And so whichever side is your preference. Just remember that whenever you're tying this in a knot, you want to make sure that it is taut but not tight, because if it's tight, it will make this paper buckle, and you don't want that. Okay, so we'll have that, and we're just going to add just a smidge of adhesive right here so we can put this flap down now that we've got that tied. Okay, I think this could be a little bit tighter. That's perfect. And then we're going to take some scissors and we're just going to trim it, and you can trim this to however long or short you would like for it to be. That's good for me. Alright. Then I'm going to take my length of crochet thread here, and I'm just going to pull it through, and I'm going to make sure that I put this through on the tag, and I'm just going to tie this in a knot around the knot that I've already tied, if that makes sense. Tie it around the knot. And I like to make sure that my tag is kind of under that ribbon just because I like the way it looks. Alright. So we're just going to tie it around the knot and pull that tight. And then we're going to make a bow. I always start out with a really big bow so I can, you know, adjust it, but I like to start out with a big bow just so I know that I have enough, you know, thread. And bow tying is not my forte, so if it looks a little bit crazy, I'm really sorry. But again, it's really not my forte. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And so then you just want to cut off these edges, and that's it. You're going to take your candy, and you do have to kind of open this up because once it's been glued, the paper is really flat, and you just kind of open it up and slide that right in there, and that's what you get. So I'm going to zoom out to show you a couple that I've already done. That's in, not out. Alright, sorry about all that zooming. Alright, so there's that one. And I made a couple of other ones for the ladies at my school. Just move that one there. And then I have a couple of men in my department, so I wanted to make them something as well. So for theirs, I just changed it up a little bit. I used a craft cardstock, and I used some of the same pattern paper and a tag the same. I left off the ribbon and just used the crochet thread, and I added a dark button. So I thought those would be okay for them. I don't think they'll mind either way. They're getting chocolate, so. So anyhow, thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Also, please don't forget to check out Janice's channel, and I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great night. Bye-bye.